So let's address the infantile drama regarding the whole failure issue. I want to run something. It was originally part of a longer video, and you may still see some of it when I run that one. This one I'm going to call the Failure to Fail Layne Norton edition. Because during all of this, someone made me aware of a story on Layne's Instagram where they asked him, so, who do you think is right, Mike or Lyle? This was his well thought out response. He said, Lyle thinks he's the smartest person on the planet. Lyle thinks he knows more than every expert out there. Lyle is insane. Now, A, that's adorable, but it's also pathetic. It's a combination of straw men and ad hominems, just like Mike. Okay? I don't think I'm the smartest person on the planet. I know a whole lot about a few things, and I don't know jack shit about anything else. So Layne is arguing against something only he's saying. The second sentence, do I think I know more than every expert in every topic? Absolutely not. But I'm going to come to that, back to that one at the end, because I have a lot to say about it, and I don't want to interrupt the flow. And then he said, Lyle's insane. Now, I won't necessarily disagree with that, but it's still an ad hominem. So what do you notice about Layne's response? Well, he didn't actually answer the question. He deflected it. So he basically hit the guru hat trick. An ad hominem, a straw man argument, and a deflection from the actual question. Good job, buddy. And the reason he did that is because, well, there's a number of reasons. Clearly, he didn't want to answer the question, and I'll show you why I think that is in a second. But let's compare and contrast. Mike has a PhD that he touts. Layne has a PhD that he makes a big deal of. Mike has done research and published in journals. Layne has done research and published in journals. Mike pretends to be science-based when it suits him. Layne pretends to be science-based when it suits him. When Mike is faced with intractable factual data that he's wrong, he falls back on personal attack bullshit. When Layne is faced with intractable data that he's wrong, he falls back on personal attack bullshit. It's like they're the same goddamn person, with one exception that I'll come to. Let's look back in history. The metabolic damage wars from many, many years ago. Layne decided that all these people were undergoing metabolic damage, by which I mean he said that he had all these people who were not only not losing fat despite being on low calories, but they were even regaining body fat on low calories. That's what he meant by metabolic damage. I showed roughly, and others brought facts, roughly 50 years of science that said he's wrong. He fell back on the standard bullshit. Well, you don't even do science. It's an ad hominem. I have hundreds of emails. Those are anecdotes. Layne claims to be the anti-guru. And when people use this crap against him, he excoriates them. Oh, that's an ad hominem. Those are anecdotes. But that's exactly what he did when he was backed into a debate he couldn't win. And I'll tell you how he knows that he didn't win. Because now he's posting these trite memes about, oh, the reason you're really not losing weight is because you're underestimating your calories, which is exactly what we said, among all the other data. And I note that in a roundtable that went nowhere, when he finally sort of got called out, except for the fact that Helms and the rest are nothing but softball questions, he said, well, I was misled by others in the field. He wouldn't even take responsibility for being wrong. He's never manned up to say, yeah, I was wrong about that. He blames other people like the worst kind of weak-minded people. Now he's just hoping nobody remembers by going, oh, you're just under eating. That's what we told you years ago. But you don't have the fucking guts, Layne, to just come out and go, hey, I was wrong. Just like Mike can't come out and go, hey, I'm wrong now, because you're both insecure, weak-minded little boys living in adult bodies. But he couldn't accept that. And all he used, like I said, were personal attacks, mainly to me. And I'll realize, I admit, I didn't deal with it well, as far as my language and what I had to say. But I did bring facts, and he brought jack shit. One of the arguments he used against me was, Lyle made my wife cry, which, whether true or not, is irrelevant. And I would ask you again, Layne, did she cry more when you left her and your kids for an Australian bikini chick? Fucking answer that on your Instagram. He also very carefully ignored the other people saying the same thing as I did, including one, I think, another researcher, someone with a degree. Because see, it's easy to dismiss me with this bullshit. But Layne is so intellectually devoid that he just ignored the other people saying the same thing. So people would only see him personally attacking me. Because that's how pathetic Layne was when he was backed into a corner, was absolutely wrong, but was too insecure and chicken shit to admit it. There are two reasons that I know that Layne thinks and knows that I'm right. Number one is that when asked if he thought Mike or Lyle was right, if he thought Mike was right, his answer would have been, oh yeah, Mike is right. I mean, it's obvious. If he thought Mike was right, he just said, Mike is right. The end. But he didn't do that. Instead, he attacked me, personally, with made-up bullshit, except the insanity bit. Because he knows I'm right. So he has to fall back on personal attacks. But there's a second reason I know he knows I'm right. Layne trains intensely. Very intensely. Layne probably trains too intensely, which is why he keeps suffering these catastrophic injuries, including a disc bulge that would make you want to vomit. But there's no doubt that he trains intensely. And that's the difference between Layne and Mike. Everything else is the same in terms of the bullshit they bring to the table when they don't have the science. But unlike Mike, Layne trains intensely, and that's a difference. With that in mind, why don't we look at a set of Layne squatting and see what it looks like? All right, so here's Layne Norton setting up a big back squat, 1.46 seconds, first rep, 1.55 seconds, essentially the same. By rep 3, we're up to 2.07 seconds, a little bit slower. Fourth rep, 1 rep in reserve, 2.35 seconds. Definitely, I don't know what happened there. Video glitched a little bit. Gets set up. Final repetition. Grinds, 3.11 seconds. And he would have been unlikely to get another rep. So what do we see here? A hard set of 5 by Layne, where the rep speed doubles from the first rep to the final rep. And I don't think he would have gotten another repetition. I do believe that's truly 0 reps in reserve. Now, what videos does that look like? Every single one I've put up of myself and other trainees. What videos does that not look like? Anything Mike has put up. It's that obvious. Even Layne Norton videos demonstrate what happens as you approach limit. So of course he had to use bullshit. His video proves that I'm right. But he would never admit it. He would never admit that I was right, because he's still butthurt over what happened over the metabolic debate stuff. That's why he can only come at me with bullshit, with a straw man argument. Apparently I am smarter than Mike Israetel because I know what failure is, and it looks like what Layne just did. And I'll agree to being insane, but that doesn't matter. I get to be insane because I'm fucking right. And Layne's own video proves it. And it must be a real kick in the nuts for him and Mike to see that. But Layne is just another anti-guru guru, just like Mike. It's science until the science doesn't work. Although Layne also knows that the science says I'm right, the videos say I'm right. And then it's bullshit. It's all Layne's ever done. It's all Mike's ever done. So let me return to the second part of Layne's little dismissal, deflection, straw man ad hominem, where he says, Lyle thinks he's smarter than every other expert in the field. Now, that's just one of Layne's straw mans because it's not true. I don't think I'm smarter than all of the other experts in the field. I don't have that kind of ego. Layne, I don't have your ego. But I want you to consider this. Whenever I have argued with these supposed experts, including yourself, about metabolic damage, what I bring to the table is facts and scientific evidence. And what all the experts seem to be able to bring is dismissals and personal attacks. Just like what you did with the metabolic damage argument, I brought data and you brought ad hominem dismissals and deflections. Now, if all these experts were so fucking smart, if you were so fucking smart, if you were smarter than me, why couldn't any of you bring actual evidence to the table? Because that's what's going on here, Layne. Even in refusing to answer the question of who you think is right, you could only bring an ad hominem and a straw man against me. Because if you'd had actual facts to say why I'm wrong, you would have brought them. Because you tell everyone you're science and fact-based. If you think I'm wrong, bring facts. Don't bring this weak ad hominem, personal attack, logical fallacy crap. You didn't bring facts here any more than you did in the metabolic damage wars because you don't have them. Because if you had them, that's what you would have said. If y'all are so fucking smart, why can't you rebut me with actual facts and scientific evidence? Why is the only thing you can bring to the table straw man, ad hominems, and fucking bullshit? Simple question, Layne. If you're smarter than me, why can't you beat me with facts? So think about that, Layne. Think about that. You can play science when you know you're in the right. But when I bring better data than you, all you bring is this tired bullshit. Just like Mike is bringing this tired bullshit. Because fuck you and you don't even do science. Doesn't make you smarter than me. What it makes you is intellectually dishonest. Because as I've said before and will say again, facts talk and bullshit walks, Layne. You didn't have facts during metabolic damage wars. You clearly don't have facts now. So you better start walking, buddy. Maybe it'll make your low back feel better.